So what happens when you try to do the right thing and it gets completely misunderstood? That's what we're going to dive into today. This whole idea of silent leadership and what to do when your best intentions are met with, well, a whole lot of suspicion. I mean, seriously, think about it. Have you ever stepped in to help someone, totally pure intentions, only to get a weird look, like, what's your angle here? It's a really frustrating feeling, right? And that's the exact scenario we're unpacking. It all starts with what you could call an unasked for initiative. It's that moment you see a need, you see a gap, and you just feel this pull to step in and act. Nobody told you to, it's not your job, but you just want to help. And really, that's a form of leadership that has nothing to do with a fancy title or being the boss. It's about seeing a better path for someone else and just choosing to offer your support to help them get there. So let's be super clear about the motivation here, because it's really about what it's not. This kind of initiative, it isn't for personal gain. It's not for a financial kickback. And it's definitely not because it's convenient. It's pretty much the opposite of self-serving. The real reason? It's actually that simple. The driving force is just a genuine belief that what you're doing is actually going to make a difference. You do it because you're absolutely convinced your support will matter. Okay, but this is where the story takes a turn, right? Acting with that genuine concern is often just the beginning, and it leads straight into what we're calling the friction of intent. And this is the part that just hurts. The painful twist is that the very person you're trying to lift up might be the one who looks at you with doubt. Your sincere effort is suddenly seen through this lens of suspicion. It's a really tough pill to swallow. And this slide just lays out the disconnect perfectly. On one side, there's your reality. You just want to help someone grow or get through a tough spot. But on their side, they're looking for the catch. They're searching for the hidden agenda, assuming there has to be something in it for you. So what do you do when you're caught in that friction? Your first instinct might be to argue, right? To try and prove your intentions are good. But the real answer lies in something quieter and way more powerful, anchoring yourself in your own integrity. And that brings us right to this idea of silent leadership. It's basically being so secure in why you're doing what you're doing that you don't need anyone else to get it. You don't need the validation from the outside because your why is totally internal. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. If you know deep down that your intention is true, you don't actually need a round of applause to make it real. The action itself is its own proof. And it's the exact same thing with genuine concern. It doesn't need a thank you note or a pat on the back to be real. It just is. It exists all on its own, completely separate from how someone else reacts to it. So how do you actually practice this? Well, it really boils down to two key things. First, you have to root your actions in integrity. Be brutally honest with yourself about your real motives. And second, act with empathy. Try to understand where their suspicion might be coming from, even when it feels totally unfair. So this all leads to the big question. If you stay anchored, if you do this work, what happens in the long run? Does that misunderstanding just hang in the air forever? Well, the path kind of unfolds in stages. It kicks off with your honest initiative, which, yeah, is followed by that initial difficult misunderstanding. But the crucial step is staying steady, not getting pulled into the drama. Because if you do that, you eventually arrive at clarity. And that right there is the promise. Look, assumptions are loud, they're fast, but they're also kind of flimsy. Clarity, on the other hand, the kind that's born from consistent, honest action, it's quiet and it's slow, but it is solid. And eventually, its truth just becomes undeniable. Patience is everything. And that's really the big idea to walk away with. Your effort, your genuine concern, it always has value. Even if it's met with total silence or suspicion, the act of putting that positive, honest energy out into the world is never, ever a waste. So that leaves us with a final question to think about. Whose growth could you support, even if nobody ever sees it? Who could you help? Not for the thank you, not for the recognition, but just because you genuinely believe it will make a difference. Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.